All
All right.
right. So a few housekeeping things to say is that for one, it's going to sound different because we're no longer the same place. We are now separated by thousands of miles.
I am recording. No, hundreds. I am recording Devil May Cry 5 live on location somewhere in Wisconsin.
Secret mission. It's actually where Matt Walker is building Devil May Cry 3 in a secret bunker.
Should you choose to accept it. This series will self-destruct in 5-4. Oh, man. So, this episode will not be the hard truth about Devil May Cry 5 because that shit is over. This is the final episode of the Devil May Cry topic.
Where we actually get to talk about what we wanted to talk about in those how many episodes we did. Insert post time card.
We've already I know for sure. This is episode 7. This is our final thoughts. During episode 6, we thought it was episode 5.
That was just you.
The flow of time is convoluted in response.
Yes. Yes. The first thing I wanted to talk about that you didn't know about was that you remember that they're making a Devil May Cry 5 anime? Same guy that did the Castlevania series.
I think I heard about that.
Mm-hmm. The V voice actor half confirmed it, and also that he's in it. Basically, he was on, I forgot what social media it was. He was either Twitter or like Instagram or something. He posted a post saying excited, like something to do, excited to do voice acting about like blank, and like it literally just put like a blank or like a cross out thing there, and it's like, oh, I can't talk about it NDA, and then all his hashtags were like Devil May Cry 5 V video game voice acting. You're like, oh, okay.
Well, that might just be like, hi, I'm Troy McClure. You may remember me from such things as Devil May Cry 5.
Maybe, yeah. But I think it it was pretty clear from the post. And like I'm not there's a few things I'm forgetting that point more clearly towards it. But I also do love just for the fact that V's Virgil's human half, and it just feels so similar to when Dan Southworth was just like, I think it's great that they're bringing us back.
Can we talk about that? No.
No. Oh.
All right, before we start,
and then the next half an hour is just Rupert Langdon just like trying to pretend that there's nothing going on. Consent, yeah, you're saying.
Just before we begin our final episode proper. Well, DMC.
When have we ever started anything proper?
Today's alcohol.
Oh, god damn it. I can't slap him. He's fucking miles away. Fuck.
You have no power here, Jedi.
Well, I can just mute you.
You could do that. Okay. So I'm in Wisconsin. I'm visiting my parents. And this is where the DNC, like big DNC strategy meeting thing was going to take place. And so they were thinking they wanted to do like an Airbnb thing to make some extra cash. So in my old bedroom, which is now a guest bedroom, which I'm staying in now, and it looks totally different. It's fucking weird. They have a fucking mini bar that I have rated. Like, give us 5 stars and maybe a tip kind of mini bar. And I have a Stutter Home Cabernet Sauvignon in a tiny 8-ounce plastic bottle that I will be nursing throughout this conversation because I tried to open up a can of the sangria and it was already out of code.
That's fine. You can still drink it. I don't even know what that means. What is out of code?
Sangria? Past its expiration.
So?
No, you can still drink it. I can't.
Coward.
Yeah, that's about as good as Sutter Home is. Okay. Now that I've got my alcohols out of the way. Ian.
Yes.
Kaiser Crack. Fuck. What is the first item on our agenda?
Well, that will be. Oh, do we want to talk? Not that there's anything to say. Pinnacle of Combat looks weird.
No, sorry, we can't really talk about mobile games. I'd like to avoid it. Speaking of which, I'd like to take a moment to thank our sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends.
No, fuck you. We're not. Never.
I couldn't get it out without laughing. Fuck. No, I've seen some stuff about Pinnacle of Combat. I mean, it's a mobile game. I've seen some gameplay, and
If nothing else, it's pretty for a mobile game.
I mean, it's pretty, and it looks good when you're playing it, but that's because since it's a mobile game with a touchscreen, you basically just press a button for each weapon, and it does auto combos. It's basically Devil May Cry with auto combos on.
Well, do you know that? Because I haven't really
By
looked at
default.
anything.
Yeah, I've seen some gameplay.
Okay.
Like of people running it.
Fair enough. I mean, that I was wondering like how the hell they're gonna do that, because like you can't exactly input like complicated combos on a touch screen when you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're getting off topic. We should finish
It's
this.
better than I thought it would be. Not at all as good as it needs to be for me to play it.
Fair enough. I'll wait to see where it comes out, because it might not even come out in the West. It might only be in the over there.
Yeah, maybe.
All right. Well, so we've broken this up into a bunch of sections, and hopefully we'll cover everything to do with Devil May Cry 5.
Yes.
And this one we'll probably briefly mention things we mentioned before, but won't be going into a lot of detail, at least for stuff that we've already talked about, particularly the positives. I think the first thing to say about this is we love Devil May Cry 5 a lot, and we probably will keep saying that. But this section is more going to be dealing with the criticisms that we have towards Devil May Cry 5.
Yes, during the video that we responded to about Devil May Cry, it was so inflammatory that we found ourselves defending Devil May Cry 5 at almost every turn.
Yeah, about every single time.
I believe that we need to air our criticisms of the game, lest we be accused of blind devotion, I suppose. Because we did basically, like, we talked about this game for 12 fucking hours, and we made like 4 criticisms.
Yeah, the most we did was agree with him a few times. I think we did a good job of like trying to like be fair, as well as also express some of the stuff that we had, not negative, but criticism towards the game. But this is the section where it's going to come out. But we still like, it's not that the game's bad at all.
Yes.
Good God.
And so, my dear boy, Ian, the
Yes.
Kaiser Kraken,
Yes.
Squid Boy,
No.
our master of ceremony. Oh, you thought I would forget, huh? I don't think Squid Boy's gonna catch on unless I get Big Daddy Scrumbubulous
No,
to
shut up.
start calling you Squid
No.
Boy.
Yeah, I'm muting you. All right, he's gone now. So the first thing on the agenda is going to be setting. The setting of Devil May Cry 5. They can't hear you. Color usage is the first topic of discussion. And our guest this evening to talk about it is going to be Austin Hates Things. Welcome to the show, Austin Hates Things. Anything you want to talk about in terms of color usage of Devil May Cry 5?
Can I come back? Can I come back on the show? Can I come back on my show?
You are already here. You're on the line.
Right, so I did want to talk
Your time is
about-
limited, though. We're on the clock here.
We need to talk about the use of color in Devil May Cry 5. Would you like to phone a friend?
Our ratings are dropping by the minute.
Is that your fucking final answer? So, I did want to touch on this because I did find that the color scheme in Devil May Cry 5 is definitely, well, DMC 2 aside, is the darkest.
Yeah,
I think
true.
a lot of the colors are more muted.
Some of that could be, well, it's hard to say. At least the hard shadows are definitely there from the RE engine, just having a really good lighting and shadow system. But,
Yes.
Definitely the art. But you're correct. The art direction, everything's muted. You don't have to look anywhere farther than Dante's coat being a much more maroon rather than a bright red.
I was gonna go Nero's arm.
That also is true.
Yeah, because in DMC 4, Nero's arm, like the inside of it was so bright in the center that it was almost white, with like blue around it, kind of like a lightsaber, like Luke's lightsaber.
Yeah, it was very glowy.
And the like the carapace or whatever around it was like a bright red, like lipstick or like a fire engine red.
Mhm.
And in DMC 5, it was completely remodeled. So the inside light was just kind of like a darkish blue, and it was very dark, kind of like ashen demonic around like his flesh area, or like the carapace, what used to be bright red. Yeah, I think that is where it was most prevalent. Well, that's really where I noticed it the most. But I found a lot of areas, a lot of like character designs for like the main characters. Well, obviously not V because he just wears all black in general.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of darker colors, which was a bit strange.
I guess you could say, yeah. I don't know if it's going to be a negative. We do know a little bit that is at least the realistic art style, which you could probably extrapolate to having a bit more muted colors, was a stipulation from Capcom for making Devil
Yes,
May Cry.
and the RE engine was created for Resident Evil, which are those are dark games.
Mhm.
So your brightness settings are always kind of tended towards darker and muter like brightnesses already.
Yeah.
Yeah, this isn't like because DMC1 did that run on the same engine as RE4? Or did it? I think DMC3 and DMC the RE4 and DMC3 ran on the same engine. The DMC1 was what the beta for the original RE4 turned into.
Yes. So they're probably similar engines.
Yeah, because I think they redid the RE engine for Hookman, which eventually became the RE4 that we know today. And I think then they used that engine for DMC3. I think. But the RE4 engine didn't have like a lot of like harsh brightness. It was very colorful in terms of its lighting.
Yeah, Devil May
So
yeah,
I really
the 4 is
think
very fantastic. Well, it is fantastic with some of its settings, although there is a bunch of areas that are very realistic.
did I say Devil May Cry 4 or did I say RE4?
1 second.
Oh, fucking hell. See, I'm recording live on location, and I made sure that I was alone in an area with good acoustics. We wouldn't be interrupted by people doing stuff. And here you are, who didn't have to do none of that shit. Ah! You fucking wound me, Squid Boy.
I mean,
have we started again?
yes. Although, how do you want to lead into this? It should be a hard cut back in.
And another thing, you motherfucker. You know what? Yeah, okay, yeah, so technically we self-deprecate and everything, but truly, there is a level of professional courtesy that I think that our new subscribers deserves from us.
Hey man, just because you can suck your own dick, I don't need to hear about it. Okay, well,
oh god.
now that tangent's over, we can get back to Devil May Cry 5. That took forever.
We need to stop. We need to stop talking about David Carradine so much.
You were talking about the color usage in particular. You left off, although I think you slightly finished the point, but you were talking about the difference between Nero's arms.
Fuck, that's right. You're gonna edit this one. You can make that whatever you want it to be.
Oh, I'm editing this. Okay, cool.
Well, no, I mean, sure, if you want to. Since we left for a little bit and now we had to come back, this hour's new alcohol.
Oh god, fucking no! Come on. I'm just gonna cut this out.
No, it's just a tiny little bottle of Jose Cuervo. I'm opening it. There you go.
Finish your goddamn point about Nero's goddamn arms, man.
No, that was the point. I noticed it first in Nero's arms, where I was like, "Wow, that's a lot darker than it used to be," and you just see it a lot more.
Yeah, it's just like, well, in terms of Nero's armor, you mean just in well, I get what you mean. Yeah, just in terms of the colors muted and brought down in a bit more of a realistic art style. But like, I guess like because what I was going to bring you around to before we got interrupted is that do we call that an issue? Do you find it an issue, or it's just something to note? Because I honestly
it's
don't know where I
definitely
stand with it.
Something I noticed.
Yeah, like I don't see it as a negative. I don't see it as a particular great positive either. I think it's just there. It looks not saying it doesn't look great. It looks fucking gorgeous. The RE engine, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it looks fucking amazing in terms of changing the art style from being a little less, I guess you could say, anime to a bit more realistic. I mean, I don't really have a opinion one way or the other.
No, I think that
really strict, to be really like explicit about it.
Yeah, I think that the anime was toned down a lot in this game.
Oh yeah, well,
like the anime style feats of fucking Herculean, insane biblical strength weren't in this game.
I think this is still on par. I think generally with the previous Devil May Cry in terms of.
You think so? Where Dante fucking like blocks one of the savior's fists with his sword and throws it away, and then shoots 5 bullets, and they all hit the exact same spot to drill into the thing.
All right, that's fair. Yeah, that's shredding. Really consider that. There's no savior in this game, although like. Yeah, I guess if you compare it with Devil May Cry 4, yeah, it's definitely toned down. But if you compare it with something like Devil May Cry 3, it's pretty on par. So it's weird. It's where you want to draw the line.
Yeah,
be it there's no giant space whale.
DMC4 is like Bayonetta territory. Have you ever seen some of the shit that Bayonetta does in her cutscenes?
No, yeah, you're right. Yeah,
where she grabs like a satellite with her thighs and throws it into Earth's orbit.
Yeah, well, I guess so. Yeah, I guess it is fair to say. That they toned down a little bit in Devil May Cry 5. Once again, I don't really see it as an issue. It's just it's a matter of the style they wanted to go with.
It.
That's true. It allows for like for example, the scene like that slow-mo scene at the very beginning of Devil May Cry 5 when Nero's flipping around the van and killing stuff. It almost elevates that scene to be a farther level of cool because there's not like some dude flipping around beating the shit out of a 30-story god.
It feels like it's used with more reverence.
Mm-hmm.
Or, no, not reverent. It's used sparingly in this game as opposed to other games, and I feel like it has more impact.
Yeah,
that way.
It allows it to like so that like
So like the moments when like Dante like kind of goes off the chain and like zooms up into the sky when he got his power up, you're like, whoa, shit.
Yeah,
he's moving really fast now. What the fuck?
It also allows for general combat and other things to feel a bit more in line with what you're able to what characters do in the cutscenes.
I mean, yeah, I suppose. Like Dante has never been cooler than when he was punking the savior, and then you have to fight the savior, and it's like the worst.
Oh, dude, that fight is one of the worst boss fights in Devil May Cry 5. I mean, sorry, Devil May Cry. I almost said 5.
Devil May Cry 5.
Yeah. Like, although that's just ignoring the existence of Devil May Cry 2 because that's just its own thing.
I would rather fight a Devil May Cry 2 boss than the savior, I think.
Do you remember the second to last boss in Devil May Cry 2?
No.
The one where you're in hell and it's an amalgamation of every single boss that's existed in the game, and you have to, and like the way you beat it is you stand in the back and you just shoot your guns until they're all dead.
Yeah, but the savior has those spring things, and I mean, once you memorize the pattern on subsequent playthroughs, you can beat him in like 5 minutes. But that's still like so annoying. The savior's annoying. All right, I don't know if I will go so far as to say that like the suffering reborn or like the ultimate evil, whatever the fuck the DMC2 boss is like better. The hatred coalesced.
What we can say is the final boss.
The vibe check reloaded.
What we can say is the final boss for Devil May Cry 2 is probably a better fight than Savior.
The frozen bit at the inside of the Hot Pocket.
What fucking? Okay, you're just going off it. Anything else we want to say about the?
Jose Cuervo makes me silly, apparently.
Well, anything else we want to say about the color usage or the art direction?
I think this game had fucking incredible particle effects, which I think
it's RE engine. Okay, here we go.
Makes makes the lighting better.
I agree.
The shit that worked in the RE engine, of course, makes it look amazing because the RE engine's fucking incredible.
Yeah,
it's just, and I think that DMC5 does a very good job of making a fun and interesting action game out of an engine that was made specifically for horror.
It's probably a good point, actually. It probably took a lot of work to program Devil May Cry physics into it, all things considered.
I mean, you know,
But who knows?
Resident Evil
It
and
could have good
DMC
tools.
have always shared engines, so maybe when they were making the RE engine, they was like, oh, maybe we'll do a little stuff in there to make Itsuno's life easier. But remember, they made the engine to make Resident Evil 7, and that game is like fucking slow.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah.
It's really good, by the way.
I do intend on playing it. But like I think the last thing we can talk about is some of the redesigns. This is what we talked about, but the redesigns in terms of I guess we could call it, say, Nero with shorter hair, as well as Red Queen being a bit of a different appearance. I'm trying to think of anything else.
I mean,
not much to say. I will say
didn't thrill me, but they also needed to happen because the entire world got a read. You can't redesign everything and then pick a couple things to not redesign because that would look fucking weird.
Yeah. I will say, at least this is just me. Nothing really I can say hard on this, but like I really do prefer Nero's appearance in this game than 4. I
Really?
think I prefer the somewhat cool leather coat to the hoodie that he has.
I kind of dig 4 more. But then again, I played 4 like a dick million times, so technically to me, Nero is still 4 Nero.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever I think of the name Nero, I think of that. Because I spent fucking hours. Because I played the shit out of 4. And then I also played the equal amount of shit out of 4 SE.
I'm aware.
Because 4 SE came out so long after 4, it was like, I just did it all again because I wanted to. Because it had been fucking years. I also thought it was the most Devil May Cry I was ever going to get again. Yay.
Every time you look, I kind of remember that when you got it. It was like you were extremely happy, but there was also that tinge of just like, it's as good as it gets, boys. It's as good as it gets. This is okay.
It's like the band that was playing as the Titanic went down, broke into fucking Freebird. That's fucking hype, but we're still all gonna die.
Fair enough. If you wanted to open up on into gameplay and then multiplayer, I have to poop. I'll be able to listen to you, but I won't be able to say anything until I get back.
You disgust me. Actually, no. All right, fine. I'll talk to people for a bit. You know, you'd think I'd be used to this because generally when I do episodes of anything on my channel, I usually drink. Not because it makes you guys more tolerable. I think it makes me more tolerable. Mm. That's fucking smooth. Oh, fuck. Man, Jose Cuervo going down the wrong pipe. It's kind of like setting your lungs on fire. Yeah, you know, really the only thing I can think of when I'm on my own like this is, just, it's going to start sounding like not only a broken record, but a fucking sappy broken record, but we've been seeing a lot of interest generated for this channel. Mostly due to REEsponse as a series. And that's fucking incredible. And I wasn't really allowed to talk about it, but I am more and more and more excited to move on to other topics and like try to, I don't want to say reach a wider audience, but see what people think about other topics that I'm interested in. I don't really want to talk about what comes next because, we have a couple of things. Hopefully, now that I'm actually going to say it, I kind of have to do it. Hopefully, our next response I will be able to put out as a Christmas special, either before or near Christmas, which I hope will turn into a fucking like 2 hour long shouting match between Kaiser Kraken and I, and hopefully someone else that we can bring on board. Man, that's it's taking a while, huh? Okay. Oh shit, he's not here. I could talk about fucking bands and shit. So, I just recently discovered a band called Atomic Rooster. I just listened to one of their albums last night because I try to do that. I try to listen to one album a night. Sometimes I can't, but I think it's like in a way to like discover music and broaden one's horizons. You know, that's a kind of a cool thing to do. In the last month or so, I've discovered Def Radio, Dead Pirates, Atomic Rooster, James or Jeremy or Jeffrey, whatever the fuck that guy was caught in the crossfire. Kaiser Kraken showed me that one. But yeah, I just listened to Atomic Rooster and they're fucking awesome. So give them a shot. Jesus Christ, dude, where the fuck are you?
I suppose see how long you could buy.
I could talk forever.
Okay. So you didn't even manage to segue into the topic we were getting to.
I don't even remember what topic we were getting to.
Well, I guess we should probably I think I already said this, but anything else we wanted to say in terms of setting? We could also put into level design into this one as well.
No, I mean, we
anything
talked
else we
about
wanted
this.
To say. I know, I'm just
we
saying
talked about that in previous. We talked about that in previous episodes. Like the problem that we had was like, yeah, it does get a bit samey.
Yeah, I did want to talk about that a little bit because there was one person, I forget his name right now, which is unfortunate, but he brought up a good point because I had kind of forgotten the level of detail and kind of how well realized Redgrave City it was in the beginning levels, because they're really quite good.
Oh yeah, even during our mod video when we were just kind of like bullshitting around and talking about it when we were walking through that hotel, I think it was me who was like, "Damn, just look at the fucking textures on those walls."
Yeah, well, in textures as well as just in terms of the I'm trying to think of the word for it. Just how like the cohesiveness of Redgrave City, even though you go through a bunch of different areas in it, like they do a good job of showing off. Because in like the opening levels with Nero, I think you start in a train station, or it's more like a mall. Either way, you're going through the streets of it, then you go into that hotel, then you're back onto the streets. Then there's a shop there, then there's the the level in the ship. Oh God, today's one of those days.
Yes, it has. It also has a very cohesive art style that is reminiscent of a European city. It reminds me of London. Redgrave.
Yes, it definitely takes a lot of inspiration from London, from London and British kind of architecture, which I like a lot because
I don't remember or know if that is new or if we saw any hints of that in previous DMC games. I don't think we really even saw much of Redgrave in most DMC. Like we saw a bit of it in DMC 3. We saw like a strip club near Dante's office.
Yeah, if 3 was Redgrave City,
which of course.
On the top of my head, I'm not sure. I think it is.
Do you think he ever went to that thing?
Oh yeah, he probably spent more time there than his actual office.
Really? I don't think he even knows what a strip club is. He goes there and he's like, wait, I have to pay to see women take their clothes off? I have to pay for that? No, because that's where you get the shotgun, right? That's where you get the shot. And, Dante's never been there, because if he had been there before, he would have taken that shotgun.
Don't you get it behind the bar? Okay, we're getting off topic.
I'd beeline for that. I'd beeline for the shotgun whenever I play DMC. All right.
All right. So I think that wraps up the setting section because there's nothing else I want to talk about.
Yes, Master of Ceremony. What is next?
One last throwback to you. You're done?
Oh, I mean, yeah.
Okay.
Setting and like individual characters are both something that we've talked about at length.
I know, yeah. That's what I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to add. because obviously we can talk a lot about it, but we've already talked a lot about it. We can come back to it if something spurs our memory. So, but regardless, the next one is we're moving on to the gameplay section, and we're going to start out because this is the topic that we didn't get to talk about actually at all. Kind of surprising. It's kind of surprising that Twin didn't bring it up, but the integrated multiplayer feature of Devil May Cry 5.
Okay. What the fuck is up with that? It's Suno. What's going on, dude? What the fuck?
This is in the level of a slight conspiracy, but like I can kind of see it in the way that Isuno may have put it in some development into it, simply for the fact of just trying to see just into the to help him when they were working on Dragon's Dogma 2.
Dragon's Dogma 2's quote-unquote asynchronous multiplayer kind of made sense. You design a pawn, and then you send that pawn out to other people, and then they can use them. And that's cool. Like, okay, there's asynchronous multiplayer, and then there's whatever the fuck DMC5 is.
No, I'm saying for development of the Dragon's Dogma 2, where there might actually be an actual multiplayer feature.
Like, you think it's all the way there? Because I remember when people were saying, like, oh, multiplayer. Like, could there be like a co-op system later, or could like the Bloody Palace be co-op? Like, we have run down the list of possible ways that co-op could be implemented in DMC5, and we are out.
We were in to draw back the clock, at least when Devil May Cry 5 was nearing launch. They didn't talk about it too much, but it was something that was always kind of like on the back of the proverbial box. It was always in the feature list. And so we both of us were super hyped, like, how's that going to work? Okay, it seems like it's only going to be in certain missions. That's okay. Can we, we were wondering, is it going to be like a Dark Souls style where you can summon, air quotes, or can you set up with working with someone else? And like,
we were young then.
Yeah,
young and idealistic.
Yeah, and then we even had a thought where there might, like, hey, maybe when the Bloody Palace finally launches, because we knew it wasn't going to come out on launch, was that there'd be a cooperative Bloody Palace. Game launched. There is a total of, what is it, like 2 levels where you actually are in the same instance with someone and can fight with them. Every other instance outside of the game, you're not actually particularly matched with someone. You're just seeing pre-recorded footage from someone.
I would go as far as to say that the multiplayer elements of Devil May Cry 5 are a waste of time and effort.
In terms of how they're implemented, yes, it's really quite unfortunate.
But they should have just done something else with their time.
Yeah, well, that's where it comes into with the. Was it just a expenditure of resources to prep for Dragon's Dogma 2? Like, in terms of how much?
So
I know. Who fucking knows?
I don't. That's a reach. Now, I want that to be true, because Dragon's Dogma has been multiplayer in the past. There was an MMO that never came to the West that was a Dragon's Dogma thing, and it looked fucking fun. Like, it looked fun to play. It was like multiple people all playing as, like, you know, the Arisen or whatever, and they were like jumping on manticores and like stabbing them in the dick. It looked fucking hilarious and cool. So multiplayer elements in Dragon's Dogma 2 would be sick as hell. But I think that I can't draw any connections. I don't see where they are.
Yeah, I just don't think that's.
It could possibly be that Itsuno wanted to do multiplayer shit, and it just never happened.
Yeah, like I would also believe that, in terms of just like initially on, like, when they wanted to do it, they wanted it to be a bigger feature, but then as they developed their vision of Devil May Cry 5, it just didn't like end up working out too much, and so it became very limited. Who knows?
And here's the thing. Like, Devil May Cry is like a fighting game. It, you know, relies on combos, well-timed button presses, that kind of stuff. And I can't even really think of like a game like that even has a multiplayer element. Like, it kind of hasn't been done before for a reason. I can think of one. I played a bit of Ninja Gaiden 3 Razor's Edge multiplayer that had PvP one-on-ones. I only played one match, and I won handily, and went, wow, this sucks.
What is this? Sorry.
What, did I cut out?
No, my brain just fails.
Ninja Gaiden 3 Razor's Edge is the only like character action game that I know of that has multiplayer elements, and they were awful. I hated them. I only played one match, and I kicked the shit out of the other guy.
Fair enough.
But I was like, yeah, this is terrible.
But in terms of what to bring it back though, in terms of Devil May Cry 5, in terms of the levels that are cooperative, they're a lot of fun and they work pretty well, all things considered.
They're just as good if you have the Wi-Fi turned off.
No, I'm talking about the levels, not the ones where you just see someone else's data. In terms of, I forget what mission it is, but the one where it's just a bunch of floors you drop down through. I don't think you went and played it.
I know.
Too many
my
times.
First playthrough was I had like everything turned off because I didn't want to see any like spoilers, or I didn't actually want other people in my fucking Devil May Cry. I don't want fucking flies in my soup, and it was fine. I thought it was great.
Well, okay. All right. Well, then I guess did you ever play it with the Wi-Fi on? So you
Yeah,
actually play with other
sometimes.
people? All right. Well,
Everyone I ever saw, I gave a stylish rating, and I never got one back.
because your Wi-Fi was off.
What?
Because you're not stylish. Okay. In terms of levels where you could actually interact and play with other people, at least for me, I thought on a technical level, it was always smooth. There was no jittering. The characters didn't jump around. It also didn't cause enemies to jitter and jump around. So you never drop combos due to the multiplayer. At least in terms of a technical standpoint, it worked flawlessly. As well as in terms of obviously if you play those exclusively, I'm sure there'll be times where you're trying to do a combo and someone comes in and just knocks him out of it, and you're like, well, fuck you. But I mean, there could be a lot of things that.
Why is it in the game?
Oh, where it stands right now, there doesn't really seem to be a reason for it other than just a interesting feature.
I guess we all got our hopes up that it would be more than that.
Okay, here. Let me ask you a question then. Would you want more dedicated multiplayer areas for Devil May Cry 5 in a system in the way that we could play together, or a Bloody Palace where we could cooperative together?
No. Bloody Palace? Yeah, sure. Like a co-op Bloody Palace with twice the enemies? Yeah, that'd be cool.
Another hypothetical. Say they came out with the Trish and Lady DLC and it's cooperative focused.
Ooh.
I'm talking purely hypotheticals.
Fist fights over who gets to be Trish.
I just let you have it. But my point is, I'm just trying to pick your brain here to see if because you don't consider the multiplayer aspects to be an inherent negative. It's just more of a missed opportunity.
All of this stuff could be cool.
Yeah.
But none of these things happened, and what we're left with is like
2 levels that you actually
kind of a
interact with other people.
half-baked, semi-implemented, bizarre, asynchronous multiplayer aspect that is, it's more confusing than it is interesting to me, at least. No, it's more confusing than it is interesting, period.
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, hello? Did I come on too strong? I'm all full of piss, vinegar, and Jose Cuervo.
No, it's a strange feature. I hope that they develop it more with it. Maybe I hope that they'll because the system's already in there, and as I said, it functions extremely well. So I hope whenever we get SE Devil May Cry 5 SE edition in 10 years,
dude,
that they'll utilize it more.
I'm not gonna fucking pay full price again for I'm not doing it.
You will. You paid full
I've,
price for
like-
Devil May Cry 4, which is like not to shit on 4, but like in
Yeah,
terms
but
of in terms of a game, it's not as good as
we thought
5.
that was it, and that was like 10 years, maybe 12 years after the fact. Like, if DMC 5 SE comes out in like 2020, fuck that. I admonish Street Fighter 5 Championship Ultra Turbo Advertisement Edition for like charging you again for one new character and a couple of costumes.
Mhm.
Fuck that. No, I'll pay a little bit of money for some DLC, but like, don't. If it's like Itsuno, I love you, but if you're like, no, saving like all the cool co-op stuff for Devil May Cry 5 SE, I'm like, oh, all right, fine. Shit in my mouth, why don't you?
Yeah, I mean it's bad enough that we didn't get playable virtual. Although I should qualify that statement in saying that like I don't feel like I'm owed playable Virgil. It's annoying that he's not in the game. It's also a little annoying. It's also then exaggerated in terms of annoyance that that there's a half playable Virgil already in the base code of Devil May Cry 5, but that's kind of neither here nor there.
It feels like Devil May Cry 5 isn't finished yet in terms of like the additions that the game is going to get. But it is basically already 2020 now.
Well,
and like
least,
Resident Evil 2, which came out kind of around the same time as DMC 5, and we have to compare them because they're both Capcom properties and they both share the same fucking engine, got a fucking deluge of additional content. And DMC 5 got the Bloody Palace, which should have been in the game to begin with.
Well, it was free.
Yes, but it's the first time that you had to wait for the Bloody Palace.
I mean, this is true, but like I'm not going to admonish it too much because it was a free update.
No, if they had charged us for the Bloody Palace, I would have been like, no, fuck.
But I guess if you wanted to read into it, one takeaway you could get was that the game was that Isuno wanted to put more features into the game, wanted to expand multiplayer, wanted a more Bloody Palace, and then Capcom just came in like, no, the game is good enough as is, which I kind of agree. Like what we got is great. It feels like a full package of a game, but I got it so it launched. So Bloody Palace had to get pushed off a little bit for it to be finished, and then they weren't able to do any work on a playable Virgil and other such things. That could be possibly what happened. But like all in all, it's not. It's annoying. I guess the best way to say it is that it's not a negative to the game. It's just annoying because there's potential for a lot more there that just wasn't utilized.
What I want is Itsuno to say to us, we're not working on any more Devil May Cry content for a while, but I'm balls deep in my other project. Like, that would be fine. Or if DMC 5 DLC does come out eventually, it had better be fucking good.
Well, they've already they confirmed a while ago that there's no Devil May Cry 5 DLC.
Well, yeah. All right, cool. So Dragon's Dogma. I'm looking out for that then.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, also let me put this to you, like, because you're only not a big proponent of of DLC. Like, even though I agree with you that there's
I love expansion packs, and I always have.
Mm-hmm.
But like DLC, what DLC is and what you can charge for what has become so nebulous.
It comes down to what game it is and what they're actually offering. Otherwise, you really can't make a judgment call.
Like, a full game is $60, and then sometimes they'll charge you like $3.99 for a skin, and you're like, hold on. Are you telling me like that's 3 is what percent of 60? I don't know. Or like a $10 fucking thing.
Yeah. Well, in terms of
like
that,
$10 at the Atomic Shop.
Yeah.
Let's say.
In terms of that kind of stuff,
a sixth of a full price of a video game, and you get like what? A couple of things that you can drop at your camp for a full 6 of a full price video game. Like, fuck you. That's not worth it. Like, value for money is fucking important.
Yes. What I'll say to that though is that there's a lot more factors that come into it, and most of the time it boils down to the person buying it and what they're comfortable with. I'm never going to admonish someone for spending money at like in an in-game store for cosmetic features.
Oh no! I don't admonish the player. I admonish the developer who thinks that they can charge that much.
Yes. Although, as we said, it depends about what they're charging for and how much it actually is for what you're getting. Because if like what?
Never, ever
what?
Pay more than $4 for a skin.
I guess I'll agree with you that for a single
never pay more
skin.
than like 400 pennies for fucking horse armor. Please don't ever do that.
Oh.
Like there was like an Oblivion expansion, a Skyrim expansion that they called an expansion pack called like a Homestead, where it's like you build a house and you're like, wow, not worth the money.
I disagree on that. There's actually a really fun expansion, and there's a lot to it actually.
It wasn't worth the money. Now, like Solstheim is an expansion.
When you say that though, like I don't. Because the value with that comes down to how much you're interested in it. Obviously, one person's not going to give two shits about having a house in a Bethesda RPG game. They rather explore and stuff. For someone like me, who spends like 5 hours just building Red Rocket up, like an expansion that expands upon the house building and mechanic system, I fucking love, and it's very worth it in value to me. I felt like I should point that out.
How much was let's see, how much was Homestead?
I have no idea.
I'll Google that.
The reason I had Homestead is because I think when I bought Skyrim at one point on, was it Xbox One? It was like super cheap and it came with everything. I didn't even do too much in it.
Oh, it was called fucking Hearthfire, not a Homestead, whatever.
Yeah, Homefire. I remember it was fun. Let you adopt children. I remember I stopped doing anything with it when I started putting the daggers and weapons into my display cases, and then they dropped through, and then I couldn't get them back because they were stuck underneath, and that was fun. I lost my instant kill dagger, man.
Okay, Hearthfire was... It's $5 now, so I'm going to go give them the benefit of the doubt and say it was $5 at launch.
If I was going to bet money, I would say probably around 15.
That is a quarter of the price of the entire video game.
I just have to
15.
I have to hard disagree with you in terms of that not being worth the value. We are extremely off topic now.
And then you get like The Witcher 3 that has Hearts of Stone. I paid $9 for it, and it was a full expansion.
Value is not something you can explicitly derive a lot of times. It comes from how much enjoyment you will get out of it, particularly in games. I'll leave it at that, though. We should move on.
That's a hard disagree from me.
I know, but I had something I wanted to mention before we moved on to individual characters in terms of gameplay. I can't remember what it was though. Well, I can't think of it. But I guess we should talk about, the next one is gameplay in terms of V and his combat system.
What do we want to talk about with that?
Well, I have a few things I want to talk about with V. I think the best way that I can describe V in Devil May Cry 5 is that I really do enjoy playing with him. I think he's fun, interesting, and I guess the word I'm looking for is innovative in terms of the Devil May Cry formula. The issue I have with V though is, and let's see if you agree with me on this one.
Okay.
Is that if you took V, everything that's around V, in terms of his combat system, how he exactly explicitly works, basically same engine, and you made a video game that was just that, and the only playable character was V for the entire game. For me, that by the end of the game, I would start becoming extremely frustrated with it. Be like, this character seems limited, as well as the his summons are extremely clunky to control.
Is that kind of the point of him, though?
I don't think so, though. You could make an argument.
Well, V's not like triumphant woohoo devil hunter guy.
That's true.
Relies on his summons, his friends to do things like. The fact that he is harder to use, it's a little bit clunkier, like that he feels less powerful than Nero and Dante,
Well,
I
it's
feel
not.
was always intentional.
You could say that's intentional. My issue though is not like because you can design attacks and other things to not be as
Here,
damaging
I will say,
or
like,
less
if the
impactful.
game was
Have
the
less.
Adventures of V,
Mm.
yeah, if it was all V all the time, yeah, it'd be a little bit interesting, like kind of boring maybe. But I feel as though he fits in well with Devil May Cry 5.
Yes, he fits in well, but like here, let me like expand upon it a little bit. So like you remember how like you do combos with V, particularly there's a few combos with Griffin and Shadow that you want to activate something, but they're also somewhat linked to commands that cause them to despawn and respawn next to you, which is very annoying. It's also very hard to have to explicitly target, particularly if you want to do a combo with V. You want to keep one enemy in the air juggled because you don't want them on the ground, because once they're on the ground, like say a what's the teleport guy? I'm forgetting his name right now, but you know what I'm talking about.
Fury, I think.
The Fury, yeah. I think it's the Fury. But either way, yeah, if you want to keep one of those air juggled, but there's other enemies in the room, it's very hard to have Griffin actually attack that guy, or Shadow for that matter.
We know that it's possible because we've seen people do it.
Yes.
But it's difficult, even for you, who's like a style beast now, has trouble doing it.
And it ends up being really annoying.
The bar of mastery for V is fucking so high.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a little too high.
I don't know if it's about not the bar of mastery, because I like in terms of skill ceiling, make it infinite. There's no I won't see an argument against that being a bad thing. The issue in terms of the ease of use with V is artificially difficult due to the fact that there's not enough ways to actually manipulate the movement of Griffin and the Shadow outside.
But I've seen people do it.
Yes, I know.
Just because I can't do it doesn't that mean that it's impossible.
I know, but I'm saying like. And that's why I guess I don't want to get too hard into it, but like in terms of the controls that I know that exist for V, it's extremely difficult to have them attack certain characters. Outside of like, it's also like this one is that like unless you as V run up next to an enemy and then dash with Shadow, there is no other way to explicitly command Shadow to be in a specific location. That's the only way to manipulate Shadow's movement. Otherwise, he just moves in a direct line towards the enemy that you have targeted.
That I will agree with, but
okay.
When I see people do combo meds for like Virgil and Nero and Dante, and they start doing shit that I didn't even realize was possible, and I thought was impossible, that's the same feeling that I have when I see people do that shit with V.
No, I know, but I'm just talking about. We know all like the way it works is we know all the systems that exist for V in terms of they're just what they're doing is extrapolating it to a higher level. I guess the way to say it is that like we don't like because I guess you could agree on the middle ground, but we don't know how many times they have to keep trying and redoing it. We don't know if those people are able to do it consistently 100% of the time like you can do with Dante or Nero, or if V is like inherently inconsistent due to the finicky AI that comes with Griffin and Shadow. Particularly also because there's a whole other system with Griffin and V that you can supercharge them, taking some of your meter, making them do more damage, but it makes them act independently, but you can still utilize them, but it also sometimes will just decide to override your inputs and then them attack on their own, and then you lose the ability to control them for a short period of time because the AI just kind of glitches out. I love playing as V. I love the character as V.
That people can do Nero and Dante combos with 100% certainty. No, I would not say that. I think that is
you understand my point.
Much?
No, you understand my point though. Inherently, Dante and Nero are going to be more consistent to use than V. You can argue that might be by design, but you can see where that would become a certain point of annoyance and contention with V as opposed to Nero and Dante. Due to the lack of explicit control you have over the moveset and characters that V controls.
I mean, that is, yeah, you are correct. That is intentional.
Well, we don't know if it's intentional. We don't know if it was intentional or a limitation in terms of how much they were able to make a system that conformed to Devil May Cry combat system that allows for you to control the movement of Shadow and
character.
I feel like, honestly, I feel like that's a stretch saying it that way. Like that, it feels like a cheap excuse. I'm not saying you're using it as a cheap excuse, but I'm saying if it's Suno or someone else came up to be like, well, we made V's Shadows and Griffin just not attack what you wanted to attack explicitly because we wanted to make you feel more like V. Like, okay, maybe,
well,
but in terms of just
separate entities from you, because V has to use separate entities in order to attack.
No, I know, but I'm saying ignore that. I'm talking about just gameplay. Just gameplay. It's annoying as hell when you try to input a certain combo or have a minion attack a certain character, and that you just can. It's just extremely finicky to get that kind of fine-tune control. Like there's like, for example, this kind of situation happened all the time.
That sounds subjective.
Well, here, let me expand upon it. Like, this kind of situation happened to me all the time. Like, where Shadow's in front of someone and I want him to do a certain combo, and like, okay, ignoring the times that I input the like back X incorrectly, which I do all the fucking time, there's times where Shadow just attacks and goes past. He just lunges right past the guy, and you're like, great. And then you keep hitting the attack button because you're like, okay, he'll turn around and attack him, but no, it locks him into that straight line to attacking forward. What I'm saying is that it's just a little bit clunky, and it could use some more time to maybe iron out and make a bit more user friendly to allow for a better skill, not ceiling, but basement. I guess if I was being super generous with how I'm explaining this.
I never had that problem. That's weird.
Well, you never played it on a super hard difficulty when you really need to have someone get stun locked.
I also never dropped a combo. Like, I never dropped a combo and was like, "Oh, that's not my fault. That's the game's fault." I never blamed the game for dropping a combo.
I'm not explicitly blaming it. Well, I'm not talking about dropping a combo in terms of. I'm saying in terms of I want Shadow to attack this guy, and Shadow just fucking won't.
No, that's weird. I never had that problem.
Okay, I guess if you say so. There's also times with the AI where you lock onto an enemy, and the AI is supposed to navigate Shadow to get into a distance where you can attack him.
I will say this,
and he just fucking does it.
Oh, sorry. I will say this. When I was doing pause combos with Shadow, sometimes I would rotate the camera and I would forget what Shadow was doing, and I would drop a combo like that because I was looking somewhere else. Mm. And so I would drop combos for that. And I was like, damn it.
I guess all I would say is...
But I agree with your original thought.
Okay. Moving back.
That if the game had been only V, then yeah, I probably wouldn't have loved it as much.
Yeah. I guess the way to sum up my point about V at its core is that, like, I love V. I love what they did with V. But if V was going to be the only character, he needs more development in terms of a moveset and fighting and just kind of like everything. It's in a good place, but it would need to be fleshed out more to be his own standalone character. Not saying he's bad as is, just needs a little bit more.
That's an interesting point, because I don't think that's ever going to happen, and I don't think it was ever intended to happen.
No, and I think that's why it's okay. But I'm saying, like, if you just explicitly compare Nero and Dante, both Nero and Dante can function as their own. If you just picked up Nero, threw him in his own game, you got enough movesets to carry an entire game. Same with Dante. V on the other hand, you start being like, oh.
Well, yeah, I think
that's a bit more subjective.
You probably get some more moves as well.
Yes, but I'm saying if they did, like, if he got his own game, that would happen. But I'm talking about explicitly how they exist in Devil May Cry 5.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm working from personal experience on this, and I thought it was fine.
All I can say is that's. I guess all I can say then is that was my experience with them, particularly playing through the game. How many times did I do it? Like 4 to get all the difficulties. And it started becoming pretty apparent in certain situations. So I was like, I just want Shadow to attack this guy, but Shadow's just ticking around on the other side of the screen, just not walking over to him. But moving on, then I think I've said everything I need to say about it.
Like, whenever I would get Shadow to like do a launcher, and then like I would have Griffin there and do like the Griffin's like the fuck is it? You hold X and he does that, like, the thing that Cell does, the body explosion.
You talking about back X? Because back X is the one where it explodes. That one's weird because I
would
never
always combo those into each other. I'd feel like a big man.
Yeah, I never figured out how to do that one properly because whenever I did back X, it always teleported Griffin to be right behind V, and I'm like, yeah, I don't want you here.
Well, yeah, there are some, like, depending on like what combos you want to get out, you have to decide whether or not you want to do close combat or if you want to like step back.
Yeah, well, when I say that is what I mean is that like I've seen people activate that move without teleporting Griffin, and I don't know how to do it.
I don't know how to do either.
Yeah, that's all I have no idea to do. I know like that because that was the way when I utilized that's what I do. I would just beefy, I just run up and go, Griffin, do this, and then run away as he charges. But I guess I'm through with V. Anything you wanted to add?
No, not really. I feel as though we talked about V a lot.
All right. Yeah, I don't think there's much to say about narratively. I just want to talk more about gameplay wise. I will say, I guess I'll expand upon it a little bit in terms of the concept of a puppet master sort of character, but he has to move in and get the finishing kills himself. I think is great. And in terms of the animations, the cane, the teleporting was all really well rounded and really quite fun.
Oh, is that it? Yeah, I agree. Sorry.
I think the only thing I would add to that is
I was making loving eyes at my Jose Cuervo.
Oh God. The only thing I would add to it, although like this one's a bit like you can kind of debate about if it's good or bad, is that I guess all I'll say is it feels weird that Nightmare can finish and perma-kill enemies.
Agreed.
Like
That's weird.
It's weird, but there's certain situations where I can like it would be annoying if you use promotion and then you have to get off to permanently kill them. Be like, maybe Nightmare should only be able to do it if you're promoting. Who knows?
Well, yeah, but Nightmare can do it. Why can't Shadow?
Yeah, it feels strange, but yeah. Like not much more to say about it. It's not like that's particularly a bad thing. It's just like I don't know.
No, I
would have to think about it more.
Yeah, when it happened. When I used promotion like that one time, I was like, oh, thank God. Like, I don't have to get off of him. But thinking about it more, you're like, oh, that's weird. How come only Nightmare can do that?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, Nightmare can do it even when you're not promoting. He can just walk into a corner room and start murdering things. You're like, all right, whatever.
I think it's probably like a gameplay decision because he's so autonomous.
Yeah, it's 100%
like
that.
It allows you to focus on like Griffin Shadow, like your area of the arena, your combat.
That's probably
where Nightmare can just do his own thing. Because basically, when you use Nightmare, it's either to do extra damage to a boss in a stun state, or if you need some breathing room during a particularly hectic fight.
Yep.
And so bringing in Nightmare to like control like area denial, like anywhere near V, you got to get through me, motherfucker. Like. Yeah, it makes sense that he's a bit more autonomous.
It makes sense.
It's like setting your Titan on follow me or something.
Oh God, the AI for that was so garbage though. That's a whole different topic.
I never played it.
Didn't you play Titanfall 2 though? The single player?
I played the tutorial of Titanfall 1.
No, I'm talking about. I'm saying, didn't you play the single player for Titanfall 2?
Oh, I mean, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because BT's AI is actually okay. The follow AI in terms of multiplayer is normally pretty garbage outside of a few specific builds you could do in Titanfall 1. But that's so off topic. Back on topic. So we're done with V. Nero. We've talked a lot about this, so I don't know much more to add, but I thought I would bring it up. In terms of Nero's combat system, anything else you wanted to add or criticize?
I mean, the shit that he already has that's extra is cool. I just wanted more because I'm a fucking asshole. I was always like, what happens if I get level 4 exceed? Like that kind of shit.
Nah, I get you. At least I would say where Nero stands in the game, I feel like his moveset is very well fleshed out.
Yeah, 'cause, like Nero isn't like Dante is the ultimate of this, where he's been refined over several games. But even Nero, this is already his second iteration of his moveset.
Yeah, honestly,
like it's not like V, who's like this is the first time. Mm-hmm. Like these two dudes have already been this is their refinement.
Yeah, like that's the one thing that's really impressive I think about Nero in Devil May Cry 5 is that like all the things that they added to his moveset or changed up a little bit really fixed up any, I guess you could say, blind spots that he had in his moveset in Devil May Cry 4.
Yes, the the Devil Bringer
to a
in
great
4
extent.
was a little tiny bit shallow.
Yeah,
Like
it was shallow.
DTing and then bustering people was fucking awesome.
Yeah, but like in terms of
it lacked a little complexity that Dante had. But now Nero's like he's just the fucking shit.
Yeah, the problem
because he has 2 cool systems now.
Yeah,
on top of his regular combat sword abilities.
Yeah, because I can never say I never reached this level because I never played Devil May Cry 4 enough. But like I have seen the complaint quite a bit is that like if you're playing through the game on a higher difficulty, you easily fall and like there's no reason not to for Nero to start falling into very repetitive rhythms. It's just like attack,
Jump,
attack,
snatch,
attack,
buster, snatch, buster, snatch, buster, snatch, buster before you hit the ground.
Yeah.
Of like the sword sack boys, because there's like a million of them. You jump up, and you go, and you just start throwing them down to the ground, grabbing the next one, throwing them down, grabbing the next one.
And the
it's like that thing in Dante's Inferno.
Oh, God.
Where if you do an air grab, you throw the enemy down on the ground, but he does a little bounce, so you can just grab him again in air, and you can throw him until he dies without touching the ground. I beat that game on the hardest difficulty in under 3 hours doing that, alone.
I think my favorite thing about that is that like for the first half of the game, you think that it's just a complete oversight that the developers like just didn't realize, and then you get to the part where the enemies have wings and they become immune to that. You're like, fuck, they knew.
Well, you need to attack them to get them on the ground, and then do and then hit them up, and then you can do it on them.
Yeah, you need to knock their wings off, basically. But it's just like 100%. It's just like a confirmation, like they knew, the fuckers, they knew.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess that.
Yeah. Where's Dante's Inferno 2? Oh yeah, Visceral was fucking face capped, not kneecapped, face capped by EA.
All right, like in terms of
Reaper
of
studios,
in terms of Devil, like Dante's Inferno 2, you can't blame that on them. No one bought it, which is the reason that we didn't get a second one of it, which is a goddamn fucking shame. The stinger was fucking cool.
I don't mourn Dante's Inferno 2 so much as I mourn fucking Visceral as a whole.
No, I completely agree with you. I'm just saying that's the reason that there's no Dante's Inferno 2 is it didn't sell well, which is a fucking sin.
Buy Jedi Fallen Order. I'm not joking. I don't care if you like the game or not. But REEsponse blood will be on our hands if we don't buy this fucking game. If you want Respawn to be around in 2020, buy Jedi Fallen Order. Oof.
I'm just gonna move on past that one. Dante.
What else is there to say? We talked about his gameplay, actually.
Actually, quite a bit. In terms of, I guess, quickly I'll say about it is that in terms of the depth that you can do, it's fucking hilarious. I've seen this
Dante depth.
I've seen this description a lot, and it holds up pretty well. That almost every weapon Dante has a moveset that could carry through an entire game. It would feel a little bit limited, but if you got a DMC hack and slash ripoff that was just like Cerberus, you'd be like, that's enough. You could carry an entire game with that moveset. It wouldn't be like amazing, but like it could carry a game.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about this. I like Dante a lot. Mm. He's just starting to get like the tiny feeling of becoming stale for me. Like we talked about it. I like Nero more now. And
are you talking about gameplay wise or character wise? Okay.
Like I like Nero more now, and the fact that Nero just got like a huge boost in complexity is huge for me. Because like there were parts in Devil May Cry 5 where it's like, yeah, okay, it's Dante. He's got the styles. I've done it.
I guess the one thing I'll say about that about Dante that like I guess you could say I'm a little sad about, although like they did patch it up a little bit with Devil Sword Dante, but there was no fifth style in this game. Not that
we were talking about that, how like Dante kind of won me back by incorporating like Swordmaster shit into DSD, so you can kind of mix Swordmaster with other styles.
Yeah, well, the thing is, the summon swords work differently for every single different style that you're in. They do different fucking things.
I was talking about like specific like DSD combos.
No, I got you. But like, but also in terms of, you ever play around with summoned swords?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, because the summoned swords do
Yeah,
fucking
the
things.
summon sword into Real Impact is pretty great.
Yeah, well, you can summon if you go in summon sword. I think it's gunslinger, or is it royal guard? I think I forget which one. But one of them, the summon swords automatically block range projectiles by catching them in midair, which is hilarious.
Yeah, like the new shit that Dante got is fucking awesome.
Yeah,
it's just that, like,
you get a round you get a round trip you can just summon and then throw at someone that tracks. Fucking devil swords.
That's straight out of Trish's moveset.
It's such
like having
bullshit.
Sparta.
Well, the reason it's so fucking good is that while you're charging it and the blades are spinning around you, they count as attacks.
Yeah, it's fucking sick.
Oh, it's so okay. I'm a little tangent. Fucking against Virgil at the end of Devil May Cry 5. If you start like preparing round trip, the blades are spinning around you. When Virgil summons his swords that circle around you, they'll instantly get broken because the swords are around you. It's fucking so good.
Yeah,
but
like that's why I think that this is like one of the best games.
Mm-hmm.
So like even the character that I was just kind of starting to get like on a decades long kind of like on a decades long scale, I've been using Dante for almost more than a decade.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay, Swordmaster, Royal Guard, yeah, I get it. Like the new shit was still good enough that I consider this one of my favorite games of all time.
Yeah.
Like even though I'm kind of like iffy on whether or not I ever even want to use Dante, it was still one of the fucking best games ever. It's just because the new shit was that good. His new shit was that good. Anything else you want to talk about?
No, I think I'm good. I'm gonna stop the recording real quick because OBS is acting really weird. Back in it. Okay. So I think that finishes up Dante.
Good. What next, oh great master of ceremony?
The next one is the big one, but I don't think it's too much. Well, I guess we can add a little bit. But the plot, the overall plot of Devil May Cry 5.
Oh God, are you the big one? Are you kidding me? We've talked about that the most.
I know.
In these 12 hours.
Oh, I know, but I'm saying
12 hours.
I think there's some
12 hours.
I think there's some things we can add to it, though. At least there's some things I want to say.
Fuck it. You are welcome to surprise me.
Fair enough. I guess I was just going to talk about is that like there are some things, and I need to really think about this more. I've been trying to, and I haven't been able to put my finger on it. But I know there's some things in Devil May Cry 5 where I feel like the presentation wasn't as good as it could have been in certain scenarios. Like there are certain scenes, and there was one that on my mind, but I've forgotten it now, and it's going to bother me. But that like there are certain scenes where like during the explicit moment of the scene, it's hard to really know exactly what's going on until you've played through and seen like the end of it. I guess one of the things, although this is partly by design, so it's not that good. I probably need to expand upon it a bit more. But in terms of V in every single scene, it's very hard to understand exactly what he's doing or thinking. And it ends up being, for a few scenes, being obviously some of these are obviously on purpose, but there's some scenes that are a bit like, all right, why is this happening? I guess the big one is that like there's
okay. So hold on now.
Well,
you are saying that you should like be like the character who the point of him is that his motives are nebulous and mysterious. You feel as though he should have been more open.
I was about to qualify that a bit more. I guess probably the best example, I'm not saying that at all. In terms of like 90% of his scenes, in terms of his nebulousness, was perfect. I guess the one I'm more referring to is that when he recombined with V, even though we definitely kind of dug down and figured out the reason.
Urizen, you mean?
Urizen, yes, and got had Virgil come back. You can dig down and find the reasons for it, but in terms of the just presentation in the game, like you really have to kind of sit down and think about it and go, okay, so what really happened there? The first time you, like, at least for me, the first time I played through, I was just like, I'm not quite sure why that just happened.
Really?
Yes. I had ideas, but I don't know. I feel like it wasn't conveyed well enough in terms of you, because like basically there's two reads you get from that scene, which is a little annoying. One, that V was evil the entire time and just wanted to recombine with Urizen to have Virgil come back, and he was just lying the entire time. Two, that he wasn't, and he combined because he doesn't want to die. It's a little annoying that that it's not well enough conceived that one of those reads is more told than the other one.
Well,
but that could just be
he tells Urizen, like, I've lost you and you've lost me, but we share that fear of powerlessness. Now I'm paraphrasing. But he says, like, that fear of powerlessness, that lust for power, that's something that you and I share. But I've lost you and you've lost me as our roots together join.
Yeah.
It's when V says, like, we're the same, you and I. Basically, you go like, oh, fuck. Yeah, I knew, like, right away.
Well,
and then, like, as he's doing it, your mind starts racing to, like, he's like, I need to get to yours. And then, like, you're like, oh, that's why he went to Dante. Like, that's why he's talking about, like, Nero's like, he's like, oh, Nero's going to carry me. Like, all of that shit starts to come together. Like, and it comes together at the right moment.
Okay. I guess I should qualify this.
I feel it gives enough.
No, I could see that.
Like, it gives enough even dialogue.
No, yeah, I'm trying to I was trying to think here.
Like, there is, like, if you're just like kind of watching it, and there are some people that probably like hear V like start waxing poetic about shit and just kind of like their eyes glaze over a bit because it's like, oh, it's just him doing like a fucking poem thing. But the words that he says during that scene are like really important to understanding his motivations.
No, yeah. I guess the second point, I guess, to that scene,
like, his poems are important.
No, I got you.
Like, he who has desire but act not breeds pestilence.
I know.
Like, I have to get to Urizen before. Then he sees the Proto-Angelos and the Nello-Angelos that were his. Basically, they were made from V or Virgil. What evil lurks, I must destroy. You know, it's like, oh wow, he's really pissed off when he saw that.
That's true. I actually proud about that. That's a good one. But
yeah,
this is less to do with motivations. This is just mechanics wise. It's a little annoying that the same cane that just kills things just causes V and Virgil to recombine. It's not anything major, but it's just like, how the fuck did that work? But it's one of those things where like, whatever.
The same way that Yamato can do all those cool things, but it's also a fucking sword.
Yes. Oh, that's another.
Yamato is like a cool thing, and it can like, it's like a key, and it like can separate things, and it's a teleporter. But if you just want to kill somebody, like, just stab them. It's a sword.
It unlocks their death. I guess, yeah, that's entirely true. The other thing is that it's annoying how V's cane is given like no explanation. Is it an aspect? Is it an aspect of Yamato that split off when he split off humanity? Which, if that's true, why the fuck did Yamato split?
Like, this is not. There's no evidence for this, but this is what I thought about the cane.
Okay, yeah.
It was like his fucking like totem, or like his catalyst.
Yeah.
Like, V basically was his cane. Like, that was the demonic power that he had, because once V was destroyed, once V went into Virgil, basically the only thing that remained of V was the cane and the familiars. So the familiars basically fed off the cane more than they did V's actual body.
Okay.
And so the cane, probably just his devil arm, a devil arm he made for himself.
Maybe. I mean, yeah, it's one of those things where, like, I guess it doesn't need to be explained, but like, I guess like an explanation would have been appreciated.
Yeah, what? Sorry, I don't know, and to a certain extent, I don't care.
No,
I like the cane, and I wish that Dante had picked it up.
I like the.
I wanted Dante to fucking pick it up.
Was the cane there after they can recombine?
Yes.
Where was the cane? Was it immediately after they recombined, or was that
when you were fighting?
or I'm saying, or it was during the fight with the nightmares, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah.
With Griffin Nightmare, and like you see them die, and then Dante like looks over at the cane and decides not to take it, if I remember correctly. And I'm like, Dante, pick up the cane, Dante.
Yeah, I'll have to go. I have to go look at that again.
Like, I thought
Maybe it's
originally, like once I saw that V went into Virgil, I thought that what I wanted, like this is how I was like thinking about it, like when like before the game came out, I thought like maybe V was going to like combine the cane with Cerberus, and that's how Cerberus was going to become a staff or something like that. So I was like freaking out when I was like, oh my god, the cane's going to be a devil arm, and then he just fucking leaves without it, and I'm just like,
yeah.
I don't know. I like that cane. I grew attached.
Yeah. Maybe it's one of those things that's explained in the Visions of V.
I imprinted on the cane.
But yeah, one of those things I guess you could say I not really needed, but I would have liked to have seen more in the game about it. But I guess maybe there wasn't room for it. Who knows? I'm trying to think of anything else in terms of plot wise that's maybe bad. No, this isn't plot wise. I guess the only other complaint I'll say is pacing in certain areas. Yes.
The game is very terse. Not explaining things. You mean? It's Spartan. Like its dialogue is Spartan. Like it's just enough for you to think about and figure it out. But there's no like kind of like the fun what if kind of shit that a lot of Devil May Cry fans enjoy. Like the banter between characters, all of that kind of really happens in silence once you beat the game and you're just hanging around in the van.
Yeah.
Like most people, like their favorite like DMC cutscene, one of their favorites is Dante, Trish, and Lady. Once you beat the game on like a really hard difficulty in 4, or like not once you do like the after credits thing, like the after credits thing where Dante, like Trish and Lady are just like dicking around and, you know, poking jabs at Dante, and Lady's trying to get him to go to the thing, and they're just like kind of hanging out, having a good time. Oh, that kind of shit.
As far
that's not in DMC 5.
If I remember correctly, yeah, that's the cutscene that was added in. It's one of the new cutscenes added in SE. I think I remember correctly.
But, oh, good. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, you're correct. And that's why, like, I will say, I hope the anime that's coming out, or the anime, because it's not gonna be anime, it's Western. Either way, the animation that's coming out for Devil May Cry 5, I hope it is. Devil May Cry. I hope it does have some of those moments, because those are the fun moments. Because the characters are so well defined and set up that their interactions can just themselves be purely fun.
Yes, but I think that the story being the way it is, I got more enjoyment out of hearing it, understanding it, and figuring it out as it went along. Because it was like it kind of like challenged you to figure it out as it went along. I think its terseness was a strength for me.
I can see
people like me got more out of it.
Yeah, but the thing is, I can easily see the opposite being annoying for some people. But
there are people that like draw cartoons about like what if Dante and Virgil were like hanging out, and Virgil brought over his son, and Dante acted like the cool uncle and gave him pizza and shit. Like there's so much character interaction that people are fucking craving from this series.
Yeah.
And DMC 5 had very little. The stuff that it did have was amazing because it was like really like fucking raw and emotional. Like that's the kind of the point of Nero in this game.
Yes, 100%. As we talked about.
Like it wasn't fucking cute or like anime. It was fucking raw. Like I need to call someone who loves me. I need help. Yeah, but I could see that there would be people who are disappointed that kind of stuff isn't in the game, even though I kind of wasn't.
No, yeah, I could see that. But like as the game it stands, there wasn't room for that too much as well. But at the same time, I wouldn't call it an issue at all.
No, that's not an objective issue or like an actual problem with the game.
No,
it's just that like I guarantee you that there are people that are like, oh, but I wanted to see them talk more.
And at the same time, Virgil, I can understand with
like
that.
Virgil and Dante at the end. Virgil's like, "Oh, don't say," and Dante's like, "Jackpot." Like someone would have wanted Virgil to be like, "Oh God, no!" Like something like that, or like, you know, slice of life shit. I guess you could call it. People draw a lot of slice of life DMC comics, like a lot.
Yeah, because the characters are fun.
Yeah,
but
I've only read 2, and they kind of put me off them forever. Not because they were like bad or like cringy, but because I'm like, yeah, this isn't canon, doesn't really interest me, kind of thing. I don't know why. I don't really know why I have a problem with that kind of shit, actually.
well, some people don't like to this is going to sound weird because I don't know how else to say it. Experience something that runs contrary to said about canon, so much so that if you intake so much of it, you'll start blurring the lines between the two. I don't know if that's you. I'm just saying.
I don't know. I think it's probably because these characters are so, well, at least now that they're like so well written and so well defined, that when I see like a fucking comic of like Dante and Virgil hanging out and like feeding baby food to tiny Nero or some stupid shit, I'm like, dude, seriously? This never happened.
I gotcha. All right, well, I think that sums up plot, unless there's anything else you wanted to say about it.
No, not really.
All right, I guess last section here is just talking about, like, I guess every character that exists within the game. So first up...
wow, that's going to be a quick one.
Well, most of these we talked quite a bit about. There's only about 1 or 2 characters I think that we'll have a bit more to talk about.
In my chair to get a bit more fucking like ass support, because this chair has actually no cushion on it. Can you still hear me?
Yes.
I'm going down. Echo.
We can hear you.
Okay.
So first one is Lady. Let's just actually fuck it. I'll do twin style. Lady and Trish, because you can group them together pretty well. And we have talked about both of them to a pretty extensive extent.
They each give sage advice to a main character. I like that. Maybe we'll see more. I don't need to, but it would be nice.
Yeah, I would like that that Ladies Night DLC, but their presentation with Devil May Cry 5 was good. I don't think they were disrespected or anything in that regard. I like them. I mean, I would like to maybe see them do more.
Dude, my ass hurts.
Fucking get over it.
I didn't like rupture my coccyx again this time, but like my fucking ass. My ass!
I guess then Morrison.
My fucking anal pain is inhibiting me from telling jokes. This is the least interesting response yet. All right, sorry, who?
Morrison.
I mean, what really is there to say about him?
Not much more. I'm just going through a list of basically every character in Devil May Cry 5. But yeah, not much to say about Morrison. His existence makes sense. It's nice that he's been, I guess you could say, officially canonized since his appearance in the anime.
Basically, the only thing I'll say about Morrison is that he seems to be one of the only like male friends that Dante has, and if the anime is actually any good, they could have a fun moment.
Yeah. In terms of their interactions, obviously, like the one problem with the anime is that they make basically every interaction just like devoid of life. But some of the interactions between Morrison and Dante are pretty fun in the way that Morrison's.
I'm talking about the new one. The new.
Oh, okay. Oh, you're talking about the new anime. Oh yeah, it's definitely their relationship is a bit similar to the old anime. It's just the new Morrison's a bit more of that stereotypical like gruff old friend guy.
Well, yeah, but that's something that Dante's never really had. The way that Dante can just kind of like hang out and be open around this guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's just like, dude, I just don't want to go to the birthday party. Can you do something about that? He would never. He would just like, if it had been Lady and Trish in the room, he would have answered the phone, hung up, and they'd be like, who that? He'd be like, oh, just no one, and just never talk about it and never go.
I guess that's true, yeah.
But Morrison, he was like, dude, this is a fucking birthday party. Can you get me out of it? Like, can we like work something out here? I was like, wow, he's like talking to this guy. Yeah. I'm like, that could be fun.
That's true. I hope there's more to see of Morrison, because Morrison's and Dante's interaction can be a lot of fun in there. It depends on when they met. Like he could even be one of his oldest relationships. Who knows? There's a lot of room to expand upon there. It could be fun.
Well, I mean, the only real I've never seen the anime, and I don't really care to.
It's not
the
canon,
only
you don't
real
need to.
Line that we can get from Morrison is, "You've never had this much trouble."
Yeah, which at least implies
Which
that
means
they've
they've
known each other
either
for quite a
known each
while.
other for a long time, or they're good enough friends that Dante would tell him about his previous exploits.
That's true. Yeah.
Probably not entirely truthfully,
Mm-hmm.
but you know, he probably has hung out at the office long enough to talk with Dante about some shit. Which means, like, in terms of like people that can stand Dante, they're best friends.
That's true. You're not wrong. To expand on that fact, I would very much enjoy to see more canonization, I guess you could say, of Patty. I think her name is. It's the girl I called because she's from the original anime as well.
Oh, well, I don't really know too much about her, and the game like made a point of like making her be as annoying as humanly possible.
Basically,
So much so that the sound of her voice like hurt Dante's ear.
That's true. Although that is basically how she's characterized in the anime a little bit. Basically, she like in the anime she's a little girl that like basically gets witness protection for a little bit, and Dante has to take care of her. Events happen, and she starts living at the office for a while, and he's just like, "I hate you. Why are you here?"
And, I remember in the game she says something like fucking weird, like "I'm 18 now," you know. I'm like, what?
Yeah, that's one of those lines. You're like, I'm just
like,
not
is
gonna
that
pay
like an
attention to
anime
that.
thing? Like, don't treat me like a little kid, or was it literally like Dante come to my house and fuck me? Like, I don't actually know which of it, like which that was.
I'm going with the first one, and I'm just not gonna think about anything else.
Okay,
Moving
but
on.
like
yes,
Dante, like I would understand if Dante's like, I don't want to deal with this. I don't care which it is. Help me. I'm like 50.
Oh god. There was some funny scenes in the anime, particularly for one, because she comes into a bit of money, but she's also like a 10-year-old girl. She redecorates the entire like office to be filled with
Are we
like
talking about the anime now? Is that
the
what
anime.
we're doing?
Yeah, I'm talking about the anime now.
Uh,
Yeah, redecorates the anime with like teddy bears and stuff, and Dante just hates it. It's entertaining.
Because I remember that in the anime, I've heard that it's like Edge Dante.
It's basically Edge Dante. There's like one or two scenes where you feel life from. It's depressing too because it's actually Rupert Langdon. But
That's weird because I feel like DMC 3 or 4 Dante, hell even 5, if she brought like a teddy bear to the office, he'd probably just like stab a devil arm in it. He's like, hold that.
Oh god. Yeah, there's some strengths in the anime.
And
but
she's like, what did you do to Mr. Barrington or whatever? And he's like, he's holding my sword. He's earning his keep. Not like some people. Or like something like that.
God.
You know, so like a Dante line.
No, yeah. Well, the issue is like at least in the anime, the issue is more that he just doesn't know how to handle the situation. So he's more just like, I don't understand this.
All right.
Moving on though. I guess next.
This office is getting crazy.
Speaking of crazy, Nico.
God, we talked about Nico so much.
I know, yeah. Honestly, there's nothing I want to add to Nico. I enjoy her character. She's not annoying, at least to me. Her entire comedy revolves around like a two party structure.
Yeah, exactly. Like she works because she's with Nero.
Yeah.
Like if she had been with Dante, it would have been too much.
You could write some funny interactions with that, but yeah,
she had like one or two with Dante, and the fact that they were so similar was the joke.
Yeah.
But like if they had just like played off of each other and each gotten crazier and crazier and crazier until they're both literally just like screaming one-liners, like no thank you.
True. Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, I got nothing else to really add about Nico. I guess so you could say, like we talked about a little bit, like her introduction in Devil May Cry 5 and her being the daughter of
Angus. Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah, I liked it, and they even did a little bit of good characterization with that, with her talking about like her father was my father was an asshole, but I wouldn't be here without him. It's a nice little nuance that you have there that kind of gives you an insight into who she is as a character.
Like fucking, and it was fucking foreshadowing.
Oh yeah, yep.
This game's got some shit going on.
It's like it's almost well written or something.
Almost, yeah.
Next is V. We were kind of talked about V in terms of
how is V next? We talked about him for like 20 minutes just now.
This is character-wise, not gameplay-wise, but yeah, we did kind of overlap with that one.
I
But yeah,
recited some of his poetry. Fucking next.
yeah, you're the one that went off topic, not me. I talked about his gameplay.
No, you talked about how his motivations were a bit difficult to ascertain.
I remember no such occurrence. Nero.
Nero is Nero is the character who's
Nero's best boy.
that is the one we've talked about the most because it was the biggest problem that he had with the game during his review. Please don't make me talk about him again.
I'm saying, like,
please don't make me talk Nero again.
I understand. My point of this is to see if there's anything you want to add.
I feel my master's whip at my back. You will talk about Nero, or you will get 20 lashes. You will go to bed hungry, and you will wake up, and you will have more Nero.
You will have no pudding.
It's like it's like back when you back when you were like 5 and you were eating dinner and you had something you didn't like, and so your mom's like, "We're just gonna sit here until you finish it."
Oh no, it's fucking worst.
You can't have any pudding until you eat your Nero. No, I mean, we love Nero.
Oh, dude.
I mean, there's really nothing else to talk about.
Like, I liked him in 4 and 5. His characterization, his gameplay, but in terms of his characterization, in terms of still having like this, like, the kind of like a an anger inside him that he didn't rectify, like due to his heritage and parentage, as well as his inherent insecurities that he didn't deal with in 4. Fucking beautiful.
He is the character that has gone through the most growth.
Yeah,
it's basically Nero, then Virgil, then Dante. I feel like Virgil grew more than Dante did.
Oh yeah,
like Virgil taking one step from complete scumbag to normal human is like a fucking, like, shut down schools. It's a national holiday level of growth. Dante just kind of like coming out of his shell a little bit and just kind of like relaxing is big for him, but it's not Virgil deciding not to kill people.
It's true.
Or Virgil deciding he doesn't need to kill people.
All right. I guess Dante.
Next, damn it. We
We
also talked a lot about Dante.
Yeah, obviously not too much to say besides once again, his characterization in terms of his
list. Unsubscribe.
His characterization in terms of his inherent insecurities that he didn't deal with in previous games has now brought to the surface in terms of his heritage. It works well. It's almost like a running theme here in terms of family and lineages. Huh? What do you figure?
A lot of daddy issues going around in the DMC series.
To expand upon that, I would not be against a game that expands a little bit upon, or at least, or a book or something that talks about. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Actually name a character in DMC that doesn't have an issue with their parents. Right?
God damn it.
Trish. Mundus.
No. Yeah, I was saying, like Trish.
Dante, Sparta, Virgil, Eva. Lady, obvious. Nero, Virgil. Nico, Angus. Kyrie and Credo, they're orphans.
Their parents fucking died.
I guess Morrison. And he's like, "Hey, Morrison, what do you think?" He's like, "Oh, my dad's an asshole." Like... Never met the motherfucker. He's like, "My mom was an angel, though."
Fucking Devil May Cry 6 Morrison's Awakening.
Oh, I'm going into a bad territory. I almost did a little like black accent with Morrison. I'm sorry. I just watched the Dolomite movie. So I'm big into Rudy Ray Moore right now. The bitch, are you for real, guy? Like, so I'm sorry. That was a Morrison accent out of reverence and respect. Hey, Morrison, you like your dad? Bitch, are you for real?
I guess that sums up the Dante, though. I guess I'll put these two together.
By the way, Dolomite
Yes.
is my name is a fucking great movie.
I really need to watch it. But Urizen and Virgil, you can put those together. But
yeah, okay, yeah. We also, I mean, it's also we talked about Virgil and Urizen, obviously, because it's impossible to talk about the plot without talking about them specifically.
yes.
So is there anything you want to add about them?
Nothing to add, but I guess in terms of summary, I really like how they were able to even fit a lot of characterization for Virgil into a character who's literally just supposed to be the embodiment of the desire for power, and
Yeah.
he gives away a lot about Virgil. It's really well done.
I think the one thing that we didn't mention with Virgil is how he gave his book of poetry.
Oh, to Nero.
Yeah, which actually there's a lot in that.
There's a lot
That has
I will
multiple
say.
layers.
That's
Actually,
a lot
because
of layers.
that confirms that there's still V in Virgil.
Yep.
Because he says I'm giving you this to hold on to, which means that's his book. He sees it as his book.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm the owner of this book, even though V technically is the owner of that book.
Well, I think this I don't know, but if I remember correctly in terms of what I've heard nebulously wise, I think that book is Virgil's book from his childhood. Maybe, I don't know, but you're correct. Regardless,
I mean that still technically is my point remains mostly intact.
your point still stands.
And then he literally then throws it to Nero, giving him a physical totem.
Yep.
Of their bond, which is like, here is a piece of me, basically.
Yeah.
Like you're my son, I'm your father. And then he says, like, I won't lose next time. Like, here's a piece of me. We will see each other again.
Yes. Like
we never talked about that, but that's huge for Virgil.
It's huge for Virgil because it's also like the first acknowledgement outside of Dante, because there's a little bit of acknowledgement, although the acknowledgement there is one that that you can almost tell Virgil hates that exists. He hates that he has to acknowledge Dante's existence, but like it's the first that he's ever every time he's really acknowledged someone else's existence.
He literally says, "If only you'd never existed."
Yeah, in a positive manner. He like it's the first time he basically extends a hand of the like, hey, yeah, we're cool, like you're cool, I guess.
Well, it was the first he was.
Yeah,
I think in the I'm pretty sure about this. Now, I don't necessarily think like if anyone's watching this and they're having a debate about Devil May Cry 5, don't throw this one out because I'm not positive about this one. But up until that line, I'm fairly certain that when Virgil says, "If only you'd never existed," I think he's talking about his relationship with Sparta. Like, I would have inherited my father's power. Like, he didn't really ever think about Eva per se.
There's a lot to unpack with that line. There's a lot of different interpretations you can take with it.
But
it's a little strange, yeah.
When Virgil says, "If our roles had been reversed," it was the first time that I'd ever seen Virgil. I hesitate, but I'm going to use the word covetous of Dante and the way that he lives his life.
That's an interpretation. I don't think I saw it as covetous too much, but I can see that.
That's a strong word.
I can see that interpretation a bit. I think the strong, at least more neutral interpretation is what we talked about in terms of him just kind of having his mind being open to the fact of like, shit, maybe the entire philosophy I live my life about is wrong and only a result of what I've lived through.
Yes, that is for sure.
Yes, but in terms of covetous, you know what? I think I might agree with that. At least to a small extent, because if you talk about, because it definitely Virgil inherits the memories, or at least impressions from his time as V. You can definitely see in terms of if you combined what Virgil V talked about in terms of a bunch of stuff. You can definitely tell he's very regretful in terms of the decisions and things that have led him down a certain path. And so you can almost say that like after all his time like interacting with Nero, Dante, and everything, he'd be like, fuck, that could have been me. I could have had people that gave a shit about me. I could have had people I could have given a shit about.
I could have been someone's fucking hero.
Yeah. Kind of like this. It's fucking hell. God damn it. Devil May Cry 5 is like this weird version of Freaky Friday. The entire time V's just the entire time V's just in the corner, just like, son of a bitch, this isn't bad over here on this side of the aisle. Son of a bitch.
Okay, I'm gonna say fuck you because I'm pretty sure I know what movie Freaky Friday is, but I'm also not positive. Can you explain what Freaky Friday is for those of us, me included, who doesn't know what that is?
I think there's like 2 Freaky Fridays, but the one that I've seen, I think there's a remake of one, but it's basically just a mom and a teenage daughter. I think this is the one I'm thinking of correctly. Just like
They
fucking
change places.
They hate each other, they change places, and then they're like, shit, yeah, your life's not that great either. I think I understand now. I could be entirely fucking wrong. It's been so long, but yeah.
Great. You
That's
just
the basic.
outed yourself as an enjoyer of rom-coms.
Dude, I fucking love rom-coms. Fool's Gold is one of my favorite movies. Fool's Gold is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Our credibility that we clawed tooth and nail to get scraps,
Ghost of
shreds.
Ghost of Girlfriend's Past
all
isn't that bad either.
Fucking turning to dust between our fingertips. Our fucking credibility. Oh, there it is.
Oh, Mr.
Gone.
Austin, I don't feel so good.
Like tears in rain.
Where's your Learn to
I've
Fly? PlayStation.
I've seen rom-coms that you people wouldn't believe.
Oh God.
Failure to launch. Oh god, fucking I can't talk about rom. I can't. Do you think that fucking Austin Powers, man? Sorry,
Mike Myers.
Mike Myers looked at the script of The Love Drew and said, "I'm about to end this man's whole career." Sorry, I'm drunk. That's the best I can do.
I like that movie.
Damn, it was just like a little like complimentary bottle of Jose Cuervo, but I'm like plastered, and I'm not sure why.
All right. Well, that was the end of my list. Anything else that you wanted to bring up about Devil May Cry 5?
Wow, we ended the DMC's topic with the fucking Love Guru.
Hey,
you know
man,
what? I'm going to take it back. This is a pretty interesting episode.
It's only downhill from here. Next episode, it will be even more of a shit show.
It will be, if I have anything to say about it.
All right. Anything else about?
I touched on it. Do you want to give a little teaser of it?
Well, motherfucker, we're not done yet. Are you done? Fucking Andy, answer my question.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty done.
You done?
I think I'm done.
Fucking good. All right
I
then.
might be done.
All right, continue what you're saying.
All right. Do you? I touched on it when you were fucking pooping.
Yeah, pooping.
You disgusting swine. Do you want to give a little teaser of what we actually want to do to make sure that we, like, you know, do it?
Please watch our stuff. Please don't leave.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you want to give the basic premise of what we're going to attempt?
Sure. I might as
Okay.
well, so people don't waste an hour and a half of their life thinking that we're gonna get to Devil May Cry 5. All right. Do you want to say?
Actually, Devil May Cry 5 might be on one of these lists. We might have to talk about it again.
It definitely will be. All right, you do
fuck.
it. You say it.
So, on for a REEsponse Christmas special,
Chinga chinga ching.
each one of us, I'm hoping to get 2 more people that we know. But you know, worst comes to worst, it might be just us. I know, which is actually probably good that we're going to do it now, seeing as how and we can't physically assault each other over this.
You underestimate.
But each one of us, however many people that is, are going to make a subjective list of our favorite games of this past decade, seeing as how it's ending in like what, 10 days less.
It's fucking weird.
Yeah. And then from those lists, we are going to attempt to objectively find our best video game of the decade. Cue music. No, you know, it's not a very It's not really an incredibly original topic, but it is hopefully going to be only one episode.
And we have actually fuck it. We do have plenty of things that we will be responding to.
Tons of them.
None of them will be as long as this one. I don't think we might get back to a video of this length at some point, but we're going to take a break for a little bit in terms of these. But
I don't want to do a two-parter for a while.
Oh yeah.
What was that? What was that pause?
Oh, nothing. Don't worry about it.
I'm going to call you Squid Boy again.
The ones on the immediate docket outside of the game of the year that we have, I guess let's say like we have ones planned for, what is it? Onward? Sorry, no, Outward. Fuck, I always say them wrong. Outward. A great RPG that I will recommend, but there'll be caveats to that we'll talk about later. And what was the next one on top of that one?
Something about motion controls, I think.
No, you brought that one up. No, the one that at least I was putting forth before was the one about Remnant.
Oh, Remnant from the Ashes. Yeah, that's
another delightful little game that someone in particular made a very bad video about.
Yes, I would also like to say that just because we have these things on the docket doesn't mean that we've gone ahead of time, like pre-prepared talking points. It may seem like that if Kaiser Kraken did it right this time, like has a particularly well-formed thought. I think it's a bit easier to realize with me that I don't think of my arguments ahead of time. But yeah, we basically like get the gist of a video, like a video's tone, by looking at a couple of comments, and we look at like the title of a video. Basically, we will never pre-prepare arguments, but if it's a video about a certain topic, we might brush up on the topic.
No, of course, yeah. I'm not gonna talk out my ass, but like, how dare you? It was this may have happened, and then I'm fucking completely wrong.
I'm a Devil May Cry 5 denier. I don't think the game actually ever came out.
Dude, you can't prove it.
I can't prove it.
You got no fucking proof, man.
How do we know Devil May Cry 5 is real if our eyes aren't real? Okay, I'm too drunk. That's not even. That wasn't even a joke.
We all live in a simulation. It doesn't fucking matter anyway.
Don't do that to me right now. Please don't.
Cybertruck 2020.
Cybertruck.
I think that about sums this up. Any other closing thoughts? Not that we've already had like 10 of them in a row.
Yes. I would test your Windows ahead of time.